Ding-a-ding-a-ding, a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. Welcome to the Cute Podcast. Welcome, guys. This is
Welcome.
episode number 23, 24, 25. We've lost track, Gregor.
Lost track. It's the 24th because I checked. It's the 24th week of the year. So it's the 24th.
Is it? Are we still on track?
Good question. Very good question.
Anyway, this week is all about Gregor. Gregor went away on holiday this past week to a lovely city of Porto. Where is Porto, Gregor?
Porto is in Portugal. It's kind of north of Lisbon. It's a coastal city. Well, I say coastal, but it's more like a wee bit inland, but you're 30 minutes on a bus from the coast. And yeah, absolutely amazing experience. Highly recommend anyone to go and visit Porto. And what we'll do is we'll outline a wee bit why Porto should be on your travel itinerary list.
Perfect. So, Gregor, let's tell the audience of a little bit of when you left. Also give them a bit of idea of how long you were there for. And then let's go into day by day what you got up to.
Okay, so Porto came about, to be honest, it was actually a girlfriend Ona found a deal online because we're kind of like thinking Europe, and then you find a deal online, that's how you decide where you want to go, and started to look into Porto. And actually, I didn't realise this, but see, if you want to find a place to go, Jamie, you know TikTok? It'll let you go on TikTok and search, instead of doing like travel, well, you get these travel blogs online, go on TikTok, type in the city and then things to do, X city and then things to do, and you'll find basically people who've visited there doing like a quick 2-minute video of like all the places you should visit. And that kind of sold it, going like, actually there's quite a few things to do here. So obviously you go and see, I guess like typical like Portuguese like natas, you know, those little pastries that got like kind of cream in the middle sort of stuff. So you go and see like all they've got, you know, you go and see all the touristy stuff in these places, or you see a lot of the tourist things on TikTok. And obviously, when we got there, we want to go and see a few other things. So, yeah, so bring it back to where we were. So we were there for 6 days, 5 nights. We arrived on a Saturday morning. We got an early flight out. And yeah, so arriving on the weekend is probably maybe not the best idea because that's when there's nightlife and stuff, and if you want to go out, you've just travelled all day and you're a bit knackered, so you're kind of like, take an early night sort of thing. But I arrived there and, you know, it's kind of high 20s and kind of drop stuff at the hotel. To be honest, the hotel was actually nice as well. I got lucky and found it, you know. We were originally going for a hotel that was 20 minutes from the centre, but highly recommend just trying to find that one a wee bit closer, because otherwise, you're taking a 20-minute Uber or bus in every day, and that just adds up cost-wise, but also time-wise. And the way that you are, if you're out the night before, you don't really want to be having to get up early to make the most of the day. So find somewhere in the city centre. We'll list it in the description. The hotel I went to was actually, you know, quite lovely. It was a boutique hotel, apparently. It's the way they advertise it, but literally just a nice, clean, standard room. You know, little balcony as well. Yeah, so arrived on Saturday and we left on the following Thursday evening. Okay. So we kind of timed it. So we had like a full day Saturday almost, and like almost like a full day, well, not a full day, but most of the day on Thursday because our flight was leaving at around 8.
Perfect. Sounds like you'd basically organise the trip so you'd maximise your time there. That's good. With your days, okay, so you obviously had 5 pretty full days there, plenty of time to see everything. Let's talk about like your highlights. So like day 1, obviously first couple of days you always take a little bit of time to sort of figure out your bearings, where you are, where things are. What was the highlight for day 1? What was the sort of thing you got up to? And then probably go through sort of like top 5, Gregor. What was your top 5 things you got up to on this holiday and you'd recommend if you go to Porto, you should see?
Yeah, great question. For me, we got there and obviously dropped our bags off, and right away straight to the centre. There's really the first bridge. Definitely want to go and see that. It's kind of like an old iron building, bridge, not building. Bridge. It's got 2 levels. the top level, the actual tram goes across it, but you can walk where the tram goes if there's no trams there, obviously. So it's actually really nice, right in the centre. Amazing views of the river, and you get to see both sides. Lovely sunset as well, and you actually get to look. When you look down, you can see obviously both sides of the river, and on both sides there's like restaurants and cafes and stuff. And most nights there's a little band playing, and there was one night and this band was playing, but they're actually like rocking out and creating a bit of atmosphere and stuff. So that was quite cool. So yeah, recommend the bridge. But on the first day, I want to note, I bought this little device, which is like almost pencil shaped, a wee bit wider. Picture like a pencil shaped but water bottle, a wee bit wider, maybe like 2 centimeters wide. And basically you put water in it, and it's got a pump at the bottom when you pump it, and it's basically like a fine spray. And you look at it in one of these shops, and you're like, this is going to be rubbish, because it's like it was a nice little shop we went to, but it was like, you're just never sure about the quality. But honestly, when we bought this thing, the spray was so fine, and you just pump at the bottom if you want a bit more finer spray, or, more water to come out, basically. And over the holiday, because it got quite hot, like early 30s, basically, degrees, kind of 31, 32, I think, on the hottest days, and just having a bit of spraying water on your face while walking about a city is bliss. So highly recommend like a little mist or sprayer thing that we get in the shop if you find one.
So you went all the way to another country and figured out a spray for on your face.
It's just a travel tip. But yes, that's what we did, and I've got it here, so it's great. But yeah, there's, what would I say?
How did my fanny pack come into use?
Do you know what? I put that on before I was leaving, and I showed Iona it, and I was like, yeah, this is not me. First of all, it's not me wearing a fanny pack around your chest, and then also it's like a dark brown colour. It just looks disgusting.
Fair enough.
So okay, didn't take it.
Didn't take it, fair enough. Let's get on to like things you really enjoyed and what people should go and see, not what you buy while you're on holiday. What do people go and actually see?
I'll be honest, you've caught me a bit off guard, but what I'll say is, go to this bridge. There's loads of cafes and stuff down the side. Go and ask for sangria, but what they do, instead of like red wine sangria, they do white wine sangria, and it's just so nice. Do that. There's in the center, the very center, there's a kind of like bar called Base, but it's on top of, it's near where this basically famous bookshop is. But it's on top of some shops. You wouldn't see it. Normally you walk around, you can easily miss it. So it's not too busy. You get there, staff are super friendly. There's seats with like umbrellas, but then there's also like kind of grass around, almost on a little slope. And you've got little kind of picnic tables dotted about. So you can go and grab one of them, have a little table. Very chill. There's a DJ playing music. Great atmosphere, right in the center, and then great place. We were there couple of days just chilling, having a beer, and there was one of the days they got our order wrong, and basically it's like €10 for 2 beers is what they gave me, but we wanted cider, but a pint, they didn't have a pint on the board, and I thought they overcharged us. I thought we did because I was just tapping the card, didn't really check. I thought it was a pint of beer was like €10 each. So I thought it was like 20, so I tapped the card, and I was like, actually that's the wrong order, because I had beer, and I want cider, and I was like, oh, no problem. They washed it out, and then the guy was like, don't worry, buddy, I've got you. And then he poured like 2 pints of cider, and he put it on the table, and he's like, I was like, oh, it's kind of was like €6 each for that, so it's 12 instead of 20. And he's like, no, the last order was €10 for 2 pints. So I was like, just where it was, right in the centre, I thought it was going to be like quite expensive, but it's very reasonably priced. Base bar would recommend. There's also a basically famous bookshop where they think J.K. Rowling got her inspiration for the stairs in Harry Potter. So these stairs kind of wind up almost quite elegantly, and it's basically you queue to get into the shop. You have to pay roughly about €5 euros to get in. And if you buy a book in the shop, those euros come off the price of the book you buy. And it's basically just, I think, to manage people basically coming in and not doing anything. It's more like a tourist attraction, but a book shop as well. So that was quite cool. Where else? There's also quite a few kind of unique design, kind of graphic shops about the city. What we'll do is I can't remember the names of these places, but we'll list them in the description so you can actually find them if you do decide to go, and give you an idea of what Porto's like. But if you like graphic design and stuff, there's like these. Literally, you go in and it's all these like original artworks, but you won't believe it, Jerry. You go in and there's like these like folders like you'd get in like high school of like, you do artwork. Say it's like your primary 7 artwork, and it's got everybody's artwork. You open these up and they're like really creative ideas, and some of them are like amazing, but some of them look like a kid's done it. And then you see at the bottom right, there's like a little sticker, like genuinely just like a little sticker, and like somebody's on pen just kind of roughly done a price. And like each one is like 100 euros minimum. And then you're going through it and you're like, yeah, some of them are like 300 euros, and you're looking at a piece of paper. Okay, it's like art, and you've got to value the art and the time and the investment and the idea and the thought and the creativity. But at the same time, you're like 300 euros for a piece of paper like this in a binder that's not even like well presented in a way. So yeah, sometimes you're like, oh, you wouldn't buy it. Well, I wouldn't, but it's nice to experience these things and go and see what's happening in a bit of culture there. So yeah, art shops. There's also a dish which is basically it's a famous dish in Porto, and it's like a meat sandwich with melted cheese on top, and it's kind of dipped in a what's it, like a beer kind of glazed sauce. It's heart attack material, but it's unbelievable, and would recommend. So I can share that with you. There's also, we went to a sushi place, proper authentic sushi restaurant, and probably the best sushi experience I've ever had. I know this is like such a random conversation, Jamie, and just dotted about everywhere. But yeah, highly recommend Domo sushi place, whatever. And there's like loads. When I say loads, there's loads of like proper nice brunch spots as well in the city. And they're all very like Instagrammable. It's almost like they tailor for that market. And the food comes out and you're like, Jesus, looks like I'm just looking at an Instagram post, like, like the ones that look really beautiful. I would say though, we went to one of the garden cafe, and I got a avocado and toast sandwich, and I wasn't overly impressed. I mean, the food looked amazing, but taste wise, I was a bit like, yeah, it's really just done up for the photos. So yeah, there's obviously plenty of places to go to, and I'll list some.
So there's plenty of things. There's plenty of places to eat. Basically, what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Did you do? I'm sure you said to me there's a gondola or something along those lines.
There is. There is a.
Did you do it?
No.
So was it is this holiday more of a relaxed one then, or is it not? You
know what I'll say is there's a cable car, right? And it doesn't really go anywhere. It's like one side of the river, and there's a big bridge, and the bridge, you have to cross the bridge. You get on the cable car and you go down to the other end, and it's kind of where all the kind of sellers are for port and stuff. You can go into a tour, but it was like €6 one way. You don't really go anywhere, and for the sake of going on a cable car somewhere that want to go and experience other parts or go and chill in the bar, we just didn't have time for it, basically.
So just maybe not worth it.
No. But you are, I mean, with the city, you are close to the beach as well, so we had a day at the beach, which was nice.
Nice. So it's kind of like a mix, sort of chill city breaks. It's not the sort of city break I imagine, I have to say. It's the city breaks. Well, a perfect example is when I went to Budapest. Budapest, we had a whole lot of sort of obviously like specific things to want to go and see. By the
Such
sounds of
as?
Porto was very just a nice break, and it's a nice city to go and see, different experience, different shops and stuff that you could
What
go
do you
and
mean?
see.
Because like, you
Like,
know,
well, Budapest, you go to Budapest to see Buda and the pest side, and then you've got hot springs that you go to see because like they're sort of unique to the area. Then you've got also like a castle on one side. Well, it's kind of a castle tour thing that you can go around and see, which is one of the things that people go see. Did a boat tour along the river to go to one end to the other, which was really good fun. And then there's also just obviously unique bars, but that's like any sort of city break, which you've also
yeah,
really done as
I
well.
think Porto's like. I mean, it's got obviously those. It's got loads of cathedrals, and we had this light show one evening in like a church and this sort of stuff. And there's like a few towers you can go up and you know break your knees coming back down, sort of thing. But yeah, there's the typical stuff. But I think you're right. There isn't like a springs or anything like that to go and see, or there isn't a huge major attraction that makes you go, okay, I need to see that. And I think that's, when I ask people who's been to Porto for advice on what to do, like it's quite hard to know well, maybe it's just me not knowing somebody who's been to Porto, but not many people have gone. And, I think you're right. It's more of like it's quite a chilled city break, but there's plenty of things to do and see. It's very chill. People are super friendly. Yeah.
How expensive was it? So obviously you gave an idea of sort of the food and stuff, but like how much were you for your 5 days?
So in total, including stay, was about 360-ish. That's including flights and hotel. So 5 nights in a hotel, and kind of early and late flights, good timing flights, 360. Yeah, I mean, not like dirt cheap, but same again, it's like not super expensive. And for 5 days, I think that's pretty good. 6 days actually. And also, when you're there, I mean, like we did eat out in this like sushi place, and it's not like super cheap to go there. But when you're drinking out and having food, you're not like breaking the bank unless you do go to the expensive restaurants. But there's plenty of other ones to visit and see.
Cool, perfect. Well, it sounds like you had a good trip, Gregor, and hopefully we can, down in the description below, we'll have a list of all the places that you should go and visit, the places that Gregor had been to, so you guys can actually have a look and see where you'd recommend, hotel that you stayed in, and then what we'll do is we'll share that information with you. If you've been to Porto, let us know. That'd be interesting to see how many people are listening to us and have been to Porto. I have to say, it's probably somewhere I would love to visit. It'd be good to see another city. Always good for city break. Have you got any last remarks, Gregor, about the city or anything you want to say?
I would say we were talking about this with Iona, is probably go for at least 3 days, like minimum, to make the most of it, because there is two sides. You've obviously split by the river. You want to spend some time seeing obviously the cultural side of it and the cathedrals and stuff, but there's also the bars and stuff you want to see as well. But there's also like this sunset spot where people chill out in the evening to watch the sunset, and there's normally a guy or a woman playing some music in front of you. It's just really chilled and nice, and people are having beers. There's like a bar literally just across the road. You grab a drink, and if you didn't know that was a thing, and you only had like, if you're doing 3 days, like 2 nights, you have to spend like your first night there or your second night there, and you're having a few drinks, and depending on when your flights are, it's a bit tight for time. So yeah, just factor that in, because I think that made it the trip a lot better, having that extra time just to discover everything, and experience the city.
Yeah, I'd almost argue that I don't think you can do any city break in 3 days.
Yeah, you see these like videos on YouTube, and it's like saw one. It was like 24 hours in Porto, and it's like, yeah, it's good, 24 hours and stuff, but if you're on a budget, I get it. But then it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, you can't do anything in that period of time. There's not enough time to do stuff. It's like when I went to Paris and stuff like that. Like, I was there for I think 4 days, and I probably could have been there for an extra day and a half, to see everything that I wanted to see. But yeah, definitely. Well, thank you, Gregor. Thanks for sharing. I'm
No
glad you had a
worries,
good
that's a
time.
bit random, trying to figure and remember things, but we'll put it in the description, everything that I've kind of covered and visited, and more as well, because I think there's a few other tips that I would recommend. So have a read and give people an idea of what to do.
Perfect. Well, I'm off to Krakow in a few weeks' time, so I will have an update on my city break. So
Nice. Looking
we'll,
forward to that.
yeah, definitely looking forward
How
to
long
it.
you away for?
So away for 5 days, to Krakow. So I've got a few things planned already. So looking forward to it. I'll keep that quiet and we can chat about it when I'm back.
Fine.
Perfect.
Sounds
Well,
fabby.
thank you guys for listening. This has been the McEwen Buzz podcast, and Gregor and Porto.
Thank you. Speak to you later.